Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
No, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense? Do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was
Well, fine, but I don't want to talk about this.
Welcome back, YouTube. It's your host, Bruce G&T, and we are here to talk about AOC and a little bit of Bernie Sanders because apparently he caught like a hissy fit and started to walk out. And we're going to talk about that and what that means. And this one's going to be short, so I'm going to bounce around a little bit because there's certain points I want to hit. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to jump right in.
I want you to look at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans.
I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that within the Democratic Party, there are billionaires who have undue influence. Democrats have turned their backs on the working class of this country.
That was Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez drawing more than 30,000 supporters in Denver on Friday. I was there and spoke with Senator Sanders after the rally about whether the Democratic Party can do anything to slow President Trump's agenda. Bernie is back.
Hey, Mr. Trump, people fought and died to create a democratic society. You're not going to take it away from us.
83-year-old independent Senator Bernie Sanders is drawing crowds even bigger than he did as a presidential candidate.
Feeling the burn?
Yeah. For the past month, Sanders has taken his fight against President Donald Trump on the road. He's billing it the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
We will not allow America to become an oligarchy.
In Denver, the anti-Trump sentiment was strong.
Oh, I think it's a disaster. And he talks about he has a mandate. He never had a mandate.
But so was the frustration with Democrats. How's the Democratic Party doing challenging this?
They got to be a little tougher.
Quit being a bunch of doormats.
It feels like we're left stranded when everything feels like it's crumbling.
You know, I might do a video on Black Lives Matter because a lot of people are repping their shit and don't realize that they didn't really steal money. But they didn't do anything for the black community. That's something I stand on, been standing on for the longest time. Because a lot of people forget that Black Lives Matter had like two iterations. One in 2016 and then another one right during 2020, right? And even 2016, I wasn't rocking with it. Because I come from a predominantly black area, from Brooklyn. And when we were out there killing each other, and when I say we, I don't mean like me personally. I don't gang, I don't bang. Well, I bang, but not like that. No one came up and said Black Lives Matter. No one killed that we were killing each other in the streets. No one cared about that shit. All of a sudden now when certain people do it, now it's a problem. And then watch, it just disappears over time. You think she has a whole bunch of those shirts that she wears regularly? No, she wore that for the rally. I might do a video on them because when you deep dive into it, a lot of people got rich and it did nothing for underprivileged households within the hood, the ghetto, the projects, whatever you want to call it. Did nothing for them.
Tour's Western swing, Sanders was joined by New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
He has handed the keys of the federal government to Elon Musk and is selling off our country for parts to the richest people on the planet.
More than 30,000 people showed up for their joint appearance in Denver.
Look, as you know, when you run for president, you do a lot of rallies, and we've done a lot of big rallies. 32,000 people here is by far the largest rally I have ever done, and nobody's running for office. That tells you something.
So what are you trying to accomplish with this tour?
I'm trying to make it clear to the people throughout the world and throughout our own country that the American people are not going to sit idly by and allow Trump establish an oligarchic form of government where Musk and other billionaires are running our government. And we're not going to sit back and allow him to form an authoritarian form of society undermining the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and undoing what the founding fathers of this country did in the 1790s, separation of powers, making sure that no one person had an extraordinary amount of power. And that is precisely what Trump is trying to do. He wants it all. He doesn't want Congress. He doesn't want the media. He doesn't want the judiciary. He wants all of the power. We cannot allow him to have that.
Well, I hear you telling people out there, fight back. What do you mean, though? How do they fight back?
Well, that's the question. We're working on it right now. But I think, first of all, coming here.
So you're telling me that you're attracting crowds, and you're proud of the fact that you're attracting crowds bigger than when you ran for president. And when someone asks you, how are they going to fight back? How are we going to do something to stop this? You go, oh, we're working on it. We're working on it. So you're attracting all those people and just what? Spouting off platitudes saying how these guys are bad, no one's doing it right, and you have no plan of action. You know, it's funny. They laughed at Trump. It was making fun of him when he said he had concept of a plan. I laughed at it too. Trust me. It was funny. Because when he said it, they caught him. He was like, oh, I have concepts of a plan. You know, it was funny. But one thing I'll say is that at least he wasn't telling people to get, you know, empowered and rallying them people to be like, yeah, I have concepts of a plan. No, they asked him about his own plan. He just said he had concepts. Hilarious, but this is downright just stupid and funny. Because you having people gather, and what are you actually telling them to do? At least AOC had the foresight to say, hey, look, this is what you need to do when it comes to all the way down within your local government. Pay attention to the politicians that are set in place. And even though she's telling them to basically just vote for Democrats, but vote for the ones that are going to help you the most. But he's like, we're getting to that, but the crowds are good. Come on, Bernie. This is ridiculous. You should already have a plan. You've been in this game for how long now? You mean tell me you don't have anything? And look, I'm not trying to be too hard on him. I know dude is what, 83 some years old? I don't know. He's old as dirt. You do know some of this falls on you as well. You do know that you've been in Congress, you've been in government. You're a career politician. You've been in government longer than I've been alive. And what, the country just now got bad? It was great before? Come on now. You ain't gonna try to fool me.
And showing the world that Americans are not going to sit back and take what Trump is doing is a good step forward. But obviously what we need to do is what neither political party is capable of doing right now. And that is develop a strong grassroots movement prepared to run candidates, prepared to stand up and question candidates, demand responsibility from their elected officials to stand with working families and not just the 1%.
That's beautiful he's saying that, but that's what people are already doing. That's what people are advocating for people to do from the beginning. So you're not asking anyone to do anything differently. The fact of the matter is the common voter, the common American isn't paying attention to what's going on in politics because they don't care unless it's the big election, the presidential election. They don't care. And I find that funny. They saying you have to question, you know, your politician, but AOC's district is in shambles. It's a mess. She killed some deal with Amazon that was going to bring jobs to the area. I did a little bit of research into it. I was looking into it. I'm like, okay, what is she about?
Amazon officially announced it will not be building an additional headquarters in New York. In a statement, the company said, quote, a number of state and local politicians have made it clear they oppose our presence and will not work with us. Amazon was planning to build a second headquarters in Long Island City, Queens. It says it will still proceed as planned to build headquarters in Virginia and a hub in Nashville. Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was a fierce critic of Amazon coming to New York. She called the news today incredible.
It shows that everyday Americans still have the power to organize and fight for their communities, and they can have more say in this country than the richest man in the world.
Like, I don't mind her either. I mean, she is a radical. She talks about defund the police, which is terrible for her district because, look, I got people I talk to. I know that numbers in New York when it comes to police officers is very low, hence the crime. So defund the police is stupid. Her ideology when it comes to gender and whatnot, we're not going to get into that. I already talked about that. Her ideas when it comes to, what was the other one? Open borders and whatnot, very radical. So I'm interested to see how she's going to turn this around, because this is, don't be confused. They're not doing this to rally and empower the people. No. You didn't see the spots where they were going? You didn't see the states that they were hitting? I'll show you. Hold up. All these states were states that the Democrats, you know, Kamala Harris lost, with the exception of maybe not Nebraska. I can't really remember. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But all these states are swing states. You think it's accidental that they go into these states? No, this is on purpose. Because they're setting themselves up from the onset. The Democratic Party right now, they're fighting against one another. And then they're also trying to set themselves up to run in 2028. But all these places, come on now. Come on. It's coincidental that the places that they're hitting are the places that the Democrats lost, especially Kamala Harris. Come on, that's not coincidental. That's not. They're not just going around there, you know, just trying to have fun and talk to people, empower them to do what? Pay attention to who you have. You could put that in a podcast. You could go on CNN and say that shit. Nah, I see the play. And look, I'm not mad at it. Do what you gotta do. Try your best. But it's not so much the fact that you're not reaching these people, it's your message, right? AOC, even though I like not so much what she stands for, but what she represents, she's honest. She's honestly calling people out, just like what Bernie Sanders was doing earlier in the video, even though they only like to focus on billionaires because a good deal of them are millionaires. But AOC calls out her colleagues. She does. I remember she made a post talking about how her colleagues are using like insider trading in the stock market to get rich and everything like that. She calls that shit out, you know, and she's honest about what she does and how she acts and everything like that. She doesn't apologize for it. She said, yeah, I said that shit. Something that Jasmine Crockett, I did previous video, you'll see it, doesn't do. She's gonna say what she has to say and not apologize for it, and I respect that. The only thing that's really killing her is because she's so honest and because she's so forthright with her ideas and her policies. People aren't gonna vote for that. Because you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna look at her district, see us in shambles, they're gonna look at her ideas, how radical they are, and they're gonna be like, yeah, we don't want this. She is a socialist, like we know this. And she makes no apologies for it, which is fair. Look, if we get to a point where we elect a socialist whose district is in shambles, then shit, I don't know, maybe send a flood. Maybe we deserve whatever's coming next. But I'm just saying, I don't see her making it that far. But you never know, things change.
So we're about 60 days into the Trump era, the second Trump era. How would you grade the Democratic Party's response?
Well, I would take us back even 2 years before that, before Trump was elected, and saying that it saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democratic caucus as an independent, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And since then, do I think the Democrats have been effective in rallying the American people in stopping Trump's movement toward oligarchy and authoritarianism? No, I don't.
Is there anything that you think Trump has done right?
Yeah, I mean, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks that illegal immigration is appropriate. And I happen to think we need comprehensive immigration reform.
Have you talked to AOC about that one? Because I'm going to tell you what, part of me believes that she really doesn't have an issue with it. I don't know. But it's a good thing I stopped it here, because I almost forgot. We're going to push on to where he just abruptly got up like a very petulant child, and we're going to see what sparked that, because I'm also interested as well, and we could talk about it after.
Ocasio-Cortez's criticism of Schumer has been harsher, fueling speculation she'll challenge him in the Democratic primary when he is up for re-election in 3 years. For his part, Sanders doesn't want to talk about whether or not Schumer should remain the Democratic leader in the Senate. And he got irritated when I asked him about the possibility of AOC running, abruptly getting up to end the interview. Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Do you see her as a future of the progressive?
We have one of the untold stories of what's going on in current American politics, is that in the House of Representatives, you have dozens and dozens of strong, smart, disciplined, hardworking young people in the Progressive Caucus. And you know, way back when I first came to the Congress and the House, I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people in it at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her join in the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You know, you want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier. I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
No, right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. Right now, I'm Vermont senator. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to do it. I am 83 years of age, so And I'm tired.
All right.
That was interesting. Honestly, I'm gonna pay attention to what transpires after, because that was very abrupt. He seemed agitated, almost like he was annoyed by the question. You know, I'm not too familiar with the relationship that Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer have together, and how that may be, I don't know, controversial for him to speak on anything about it relating to AOC. But that was an interesting response. I mean, his whole reaction, you know, you want to play games. Play games with what? You can't ask questions? You answer questions this whole entire time. You know, it's almost like he had a senior moment. Not saying he did, but I'm just saying it's kind of weird, because you saw his, I don't know, publicist, handler, whatever you want to call it, nurse, whatever, in the back there ready to like just scoop him up. But interesting. Makes you kind of wonder what's going on behind the scenes, because like I said before, this is preparing for a 2028 run for AOC. If she's not on the docket, I'd be shocked. And a little bit of a whole summary, right? What the Democratic Party is trying to do, they're trying to rebrand themselves to be a little bit more moderate, a little less radical. So I'm a little bit confused as to what Bernie Sanders and AOC are planning to do, because they're not just calling out the Republicans and, you know, Donald Trump's administration. They're calling out other Democrats as well. Not specifically, but they're all calling them out, saying, hey, look, we're not above board either. And right now we're weak and we're not hitting back as hard as we can. What they're going to do to hit back, don't know, because Bernie Sanders also doesn't know. So I can't give you answers that he doesn't have. But I'm interested to see how they're going to bounce back from this, because like I said earlier, AOC is pretty radical. So I don't see how they're going to go about this, because maybe they're smart enough to figure out, hey, look, if we keep going with these type of ideas, we need to kind of soften the blow a little bit, because we tried that and the American people didn't like it. And that was with a lesser version with Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris tried to like kind of distance herself from certain things, especially during interviews, because you saw how she avoided certain questions. Here, AOC is a little bit of a, she's a wild card. I could definitely see her going by the beat of her own drum and doing what she wants to do, when she wants to do it, and saying exactly how she wants to say it. So all we gotta do is wait. But that's it for this video. You guys already know the drill. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you want more, because I will be keeping up with this and paying attention to their whole, you know, rallies, because like I said, they're preparing for 2028. Peace.